What a beautiful, beautiful night. People are probably all tucked away nice in their homes. Would be a shame if someone decided to What is up, peoples of YouTube? I'm the Motorcycle Mick, and today we are talking about how to increase the performance on your Harley-Davidson. Now, I've talked about my stages in the past and how I've increased the power on this bike using a stage 1, but we are going through 5 different ways, or more so steps, to increase the power on your motorcycle.
But before I get too far into this video, if you are new to this channel or been watching for a very long time, hit that subscribe button down below. I upload videos every Tuesday and Thursday around 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we did hit 500 subscribers. I'm doing that giveaway this Saturday on a live stream, so be sure to be there and be subscribed to this channel if you want a chance to win some Mad Bike gloves. We are on a trail to 1,000 subscribers. Once we hit there, I'm giving away a helmet. If you don't have one for next riding season or you're trying to get one as a gift for someone, this could be a good chance for you to try and win it.
But having the most powerful Harley is the competition that we all fall into. It's always about who's got the most power, and in this video, I'm going to show you the path to get that power. The first one on this list is having a stage 1 done. That is pipes, a tuner, and an intake. That is the simplest first step to gain power in your Harley. You guys have heard about my stage 1 a lot. It's my Power Vision tuner, my Tab Performance mufflers, and my bike, the 114 I have, already came with a ventilator air cleaner, which is already a high flow air cleaner. Now, you've heard me call this a true stage 1 before, and the reason I say that is because this tuner and setup is not limited by EPA standards. Unlike Harley's Pro Street tuner, I can go in and adjust things to where I need them to be at. Just to give you fair warning, everything you're going to do in this list is going to void your warranty, especially on a new Harley, because these are all going outside of EPA regulations, and that's normally what you have to do to gain power. But there's 3 things I can recommend for tuner-wise. It's the Power Vision, which is going to be able to adjust everything in there on the fly. It's the closest thing really to a dyno tune. A Thunder Max, which is a basically smart standalone ignition system that's going to be auto-tuning based on where you're at, or the FP3, which is a tuner you can control with an app on your phone. Exhaust-wise, you're going to want something that's high flow, that's got a lot of volume. It's going to let air out as you got your performance intake letting air in, and that can be anywhere from, a D&D 2-in-1, or it can be a, pair of zombie baffles like I have in mind that's high flow. On this Heritage specifically, I have cats in my mufflers, or had cats in my mufflers, so just by replacing the slip-ons, it opened my exhaust up extremely. And if you have a touring model, you might want to look into high flow heads for your bike. Going over to the intakes, there's so many of them. There's S&S, there's Kuryakin, any of the Screaming Eagle ones. At this stage, it's not really a big difference because you're just adding a stage 1 to your motorcycle, but once you start getting to the further in this list, you're going to want to change it up. The second thing I'm going to talk about is a cam. Now, once you have your stage 1 done and you really want to get more power, the easiest way to do that is with bolt-in things like a camshaft. And a camshaft changes the way that your valves open and close and allows you to get more intake, more exhaust. And once you open that up, it allows you to have more power. And more flow means more power, which means suck, squeeze, bang, blow. That means that what you're doing is creating more power with more lift. And there's a lot of cams out there. There's so many different kinds of cams from different companies. Brands like S&S, Redshift, you're going to have Woods, you're going to have all these different brands. But when it comes down to what you want to do, you got to decide that for yourself and what kind of power you're looking for, where you're going at. Don't just pick your cam based off of dyno numbers. Pick a cam that's going to be good for your riding style.
So, for example for you guys, this is a 530 camshaft for a Milwaukee 8. Now, you notice I have one. Milwaukee 8s have a single camshaft, they're not a twin cam. The twin cam was its own little animal. Everything before the twin cam had a single cam, and it seems like everything after is gonna have a single cam because you're just way better. Look at that doo-doo. Just kidding, that's a badass bike. For this one, this is a 530 cam, so that means from here, the highest point is where you get that 530. The highest point is 530. Now, every cam manufacturer is different, but I don't know the duration and all that for this one because I don't have that information. I think it's a secret, but we'll see if this goes in that bike. Explain how this works versus just, what the lift and all that is on it. Each one of these is a lobe. Once this lobe hits the top, that's when it lifts your push rod, and then it pushes the valve down and opens it up. Because it is a single cam motor, each one of these is going to operate both valves on the heads. So when this hits the top, it's going to open the intake. Then when it hits the bottom, it'll close the intake valve and open the exhaust valve. And then the cycle continues and continues and continues and keeps going until, I mean, it just keeps going until you shut the bike off. And something to be noted along with the stage 1, before I get into the third one, is that you can get kits from like Ultra Cool. Gears and Gadgets has a great video on it. It adds a cooler to your, on the Milwaukee 8s anyways, it adds a cooler via your oil filter. So it runs it through there, cools the oil as it's coming out. Go check it out, I'll link it down below. We've already went with the stage 1, we've gotten the cam. Now you want more power. Before going into something bigger, you need to start doing some work. And not all kits require this, but if you want to build that power up and have it available to you, as you can see on this bike, it has this nice little thing that says CNC ported. Yeah, it's beautiful, and I don't have that, and it sucks balls. What I have right here is a head, and this thing has been ported and polished and CNC. And what I mean by that is, in here, inside your intake, it's CNC'd where they took meat off there and then ported it and polished it. Then, I guess you want to look at a Milwaukee 8 head, here's your 4 valves, and inside. But you got your 2 spark plugs. When they say Milwaukee, it has 2 or 4 spark plugs. You got one back here and one right here. And so it's ignited on both sides. So that is head work. And it's not cheap. You get what you pay for. So either A, you can go out and buy some CBO heads, or B, well, you can send out your heads you have and get them worked on. These have been worked on, have turned out awesome. These also have +2 valves. Put into perspective, that's how big the intake is, that's how big the exhaust is, and that's a +2 valve. So mine are pretty freaking dinky. And then we get into this. After you've gotten all that head work done, if you actually have to do it, and like I said, a lot of these big bore kits don't require head work. You can run them on the factory one and put a good cam in it. At minimum, you're gonna have to replace your valve springs, and I'll go back to a little freeze picture of me pointing those out. What this is right here, this is a jug for a 128. 128 cubic, I mean, look how big that freaking piston is.
Hello in TV land.
Is a kit that bolts on, put your heads back on it, and you have more displacement. But with these kits, you have to make sure that your stroke, so the travel of your crank, and your motor can actually handle it. Also be sure that when you're ordering a kit, you get it for the right motor. Don't be ordering a Milwaukee 8 kit for a twin cam or a twin cam for a Milwaukee 8. It's not gonna work out. It's gonna look ridiculous, and you're gonna be waiting more time to get your bike back on the road. But what a big bore kit is just taking and putting bigger jugs, or if you want to call them cylinders, onto your motorcycle, adding bigger pistons, creating bigger compression. But like I said, you do have to get new springs at minimum, depending on what kind of lift you want. And if you're gonna go with more aggressive lift, anything over 500 on Milwaukee 8, you're gonna wanna get the springs done. It's worth it. You're already gonna have the heads off the bike when you are putting a big bore kit on there. So you might as well take the time, add the money and get new valve springs put in so that you're not blowing valve springs as you're going. Because you're gonna hear that rattling if it's not meant to be what it is. Along with that, you need adjustable push rods. So this is where it's getting more expensive. When you wanna do a big bore kit, you're buying the whole kit along with everything else to run it. You can run with the factory cam, but like I said, we're going to get more power. So you're gonna want something that's gonna build that power for you and be able to withstand the power. When you are replacing everything, I guess if you are putting a big bore kit on there, you can put non-adjustable push rods back in because you're everything torn down, but it's way easier because if you ever want to change the cam in there, it makes it a lot more simple versus having to rip the whole motor apart again, or at least cut the ones that you put in. Even if, you know, if they are expensive ones, then you're wasting your money because you're gonna cut them, because you have to put adjustables in unless you want to tear your whole bike apart again. And then we get to number 5 in our list. And those are, they're gonna increase combustion in the chamber and pressure. Now, there's 2 routes you can go with this. The first route is obviously nitrous. And what nitrous is you can either do a wet or dry system. A wet system is going to inject it into the fuel, whereas a dry system is going to inject it right into your intake versus inject it with the fuel. Both of which require a fogger, it's expensive, and it's very tedious, and you got to be careful doing it, because if you do mess up doing nitrous, A, you could grenade your engine, B, you could grenade yourself, and C, you could grenade the people around you. Nitrous is something that's very finicky, and especially on a motorcycle, unless you know exactly what's going on and the control you have with it, I wouldn't recommend it. And then we get into things that add pressure to your motor, increasing compression, increasing the pressure inside of it, creating more burn. And I'm not talking about hypercharger, those things are complete bullshit. Just because you add some butterflies on an intake doesn't mean it adds any extra power to it. I know people are gonna get pissed off and be like, I have one that added so much power. Literally all it's doing, what's adding your power, is the way it's channeling the air in. And that same kind of way of channeling the air and the way it's shaped is something you can get on the factory Harley-Davidson intake. Let's just put an aftermarket air cleaner on there. But the real thing, the real power adder in there that's really gonna benefit you is gonna be your turbo. Now, on a motorcycle, it's a little bit different, but the concept is the same. What happens is as you're riding your bike, it takes a little turbine and spools it up, and what that does is pressurize air going into your cylinder. It helps with compression. It works off your exhaust. As you're going, the exhaust turns on one side of the compressor wheel, which turns the compressor wheel on the other side, which is forcing your air in. So if you're at different levels of sea level or cold or hot, it's gonna compress the air, helping for a more full, better burn. You wanna have a bike that's got the low end torque to pull and then allow the turbo to spool up and build you that power. It's a long run thing. Turbos are good for horsepower, but not good for torque.
But yeah, guys, this is just my list of 5 things that you can do to add more power to your motorcycle. Honestly, they're all gonna give you more power than what you initially had. From a stage 1 where you're just kind of adding the general performance parts to compress like turbochargers, nitrous, you're progressively gonna have increased cost in what you're doing. And that's going to be something you're going to have to deal with in your own kind of way. You might have to save up to build up to something bigger and better. But in the end, you're going to get what you want, which is more power, more torque, more when you turn the throttle, you're going to have that fun there. And already with these bikes, especially the Milwaukee 8s, they come with a lot of torque. So you might want to start doing modifications that are going to affect your horsepower so you have a more level torque curve. And what that is like, let's say you're looking at a dyno sheet, you have the 2 lines. Well, those 2 lines where they cross is where your torque drops off and your horsepower picks up. And what you want is your horsepower line to still increase while your torque drops off. Torque's going to give you the best fun off the throttle twist. Horsepower is going to give you that pull the whole way to wherever you're limited to, if you are limited. But let me know down below what you guys think in the comments about this, or if you've done some of these builds or added some of this stuff to your bike. I want to know what cams you guys have had, which stage 1 you went with, what pipes, what tuner, what intake you have, gotten headwork done, big bore kits put on your bike. I want to know these things and see what you guys say about them, because, well, hopefully, if all goes well, this bike's getting a big jug kit on it. And as always, SSSS, I hope you have a great day, evening, night, morning, afternoon tea, brunch, lunch, nightcap, midnight snack, crumpet, and remember to always ride for freedom and those secret days you get to go riding. Goodbye.
Shit is old school. They say I'm not supposed to, but I make my own rules. Dog, this shit is old school. Yo, bitch, man, that's old news. She been on my whole crew. Yeah, that chick is ran through. Ha. This shit sound like old tool. Pull up and I drop the roof, and that bitch a old school. These niggas acting brand new. I just